New York City also bracing for Tropical Storm Fay. In fact, the Office of Emergency Management urging New Yorkers to prepare for high winds and heavy rain. So joining us live this morning via Skype, New York City OEM Commissioner Deanne Criswell. Good to see you, Commissioner.
Good morning, Dan. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So let's get the information out there first and foremost, what you're advising for New Yorkers around the 5 boroughs to do, precautions they can take ahead of the storm.
Great question. And while this storm doesn't expect to be, significant in tropical storm like we saw with Tropical Storm Sandy, we do want New Yorkers to make sure that they're taking actions to stay safe. And one of the things that they should do is they should charge all of their cell phones and their electronics, because there's always the potential, especially because we're going to see wind, that we'll have power outages. We want people to make sure that they're checking on their neighbors, checking on their loved ones, and make sure that they're ready and they have the resources that they need. And then people need to just right now this is a good opportunity, and while we're not going to have to evacuate, to really take a look at if you are in a hurricane evacuation zone and know what your zone is.
Yeah, because this is a few wind gusts short of being a hurricane, right? Pretty much is what a tropical storm is. Flash flooding concerns, are there specific areas that you are worried about that you'll be deploying more resources to?
We've had DEP out since yesterday clearing catch basins because, again, we expect this to be really like a severe thunderstorm. And so those areas that we typically see flooding are like the FDR and the Belt Parkway. But this is going to be widespread across the city, and it's going to be a significant amount of rain. And so we want all New Yorkers to make sure that they're taking precautions anytime they're out walking or driving, because we will see some flooding throughout the city. But there are those areas that we typically see, like the FDR and the Belt Parkway, more regularly, right. But it could end up anywhere this time.
And we're already seeing some tragedy that happened on Long Island in terms of beaches and rip currents. But do you have advice for those folks who always say, okay, there's a storm coming, let me go catch a few waves or something as a surfer, but there is rip current concerns?
Rip currents are actually a huge concern for this storm, and we should see those through the weekend. And rip currents, while it's inviting for those that want to go out and catch a wave and surf, it's really dangerous. And so I'd encourage all New Yorkers to take precautions. While it looks inviting, it's extremely dangerous right now with the type of storm system that we're seeing to come through.
And lastly, you have the Multi-Agency Emergency Operations Center up and running. I'm guessing that's where you are this morning. So just give everybody an idea of who's involved there. It's FDNY and a few others, right?
Absolutely. So we're actually operating virtually because of the COVID-19 crisis, and so we can enable social distancing. But we have the typical partners that we have across the city are FDNY, NYPD, the sanitation, DEP, parks. We've, again, activated our flash flood plan, which has had people going out since yesterday, clearing those catch basins. We also have our down tree task force on alert, because we do expect to see some branches and some tree damage. And so that way we can go clean that up right away as well.
But
this is the first test to really operate virtually.
I was just going to say that brings up a really good point about doing this virtually, because usually you're all in one room, you're able to look at a big board of monitors. So this is the first test. And right. So what do you use in this? Is it Zoom? Like, what are you using?
So the main tool that we've been using is Microsoft Teams. We've also been using some WebEx tools, but we've been working with it through the COVID-19 crisis, but never in this kind of response phase that we're seeing right now. So this is going to be a really good opportunity for us to work through some of those kinks and see what kind of resources or what other technology advancements we might need to put in place so we can operate virtually.
Very good point there. Hey, thank you for your time this morning. Last time Task Force 1 was out was a hurricane down in the Carolinas. I was embedded with them. So send my best to those men and women there of Task Force 1. I'm big fans of theirs. I know they won't be out this time around, but I'm a big fan of theirs. Hey, good luck this weekend, and thank you for keeping everybody safe.
All right. Thanks. Stay safe.